apparently chance doesn't just screw you over in the game of Warhammer 40k, it can also screw you over in the hobby. The whole point of this wheel idea was so I could work towards a fully painted army over time with a fun little gimmick and kind of talk through what I was doing with each step of the way. Just something to keep things interesting and different to make it less boring for me, so I'm not just painting the same things over and over again. I mentioned before this concept of analysis paralysis, and this was the main idea, was to keep me from either stalling or not doing any work because of the analysis paralysis and force my hand into doing whatever it says. And eventually, one of my armies will be fully painted. Simple, right? I even had duplicates here to increase the chance of me hitting my two main armies, which are Drukhari and 1,000 Suns. I have a third army in here, which is the Screaming Ravens, which is my Raven Guard Successors army, but there's a lot less of that on the wheel, and it's something I've kind of been working towards slowly over time anyway. The main ones are the Drukhari and the 1,000 Suns. Now, I added these wildcards in here to keep things more interesting and a bit spicy. You know, try and change things up a little bit. Maybe, a bit down the road, we'll suddenly do some orcs or something. That'd be quite interesting. I was not expecting it to come up so soon, and it's the one part of the wheel which has models for a game I don't even play. So you're probably asking yourself now, Paul, why on earth have you got all these Soulblight Gravelords if you don't even play Age of Sigmar? Are you an idiot? And the answer to that is, yes, I am an idiot. I can't help myself. It just comes naturally to me that I just have to buy things because I'm a petulant child with absolutely no self-control. Last Christmas, Games Workshop released this Christmas box. It was a pretty good deal for quite a lot of the Soulblight Gravelord models, and in particular, there was one model I really wanted. So I thought, I'll pick the box up. And then I thought, hey, if I'm going to pick one box up, why don't I just pick up the starter set as well? It gives me a nice range of models to build and paint and eventually play Age of Sigmar with. In the back of my mind, I know just because I'm the way I am, I probably just bought the one box for that singular model, despite the fact there's 60 plus models in there. The fact that I bought a second box just so I could somehow justify to myself that I'd eventually play this game is just how I roll, I guess. So going back to the process and the 4 steps, I could be a cheapskate and just quickly go spray paint this one model that I've actually done, call it a day and move on, but I feel like the power of the gacha gods here have told me I need to do more. I'm not going to invest too much time into this, but here is my plan. I'm somewhat conscious of the fact that I don't have that much room left in this room for displaying Warhammer, so I don't want to build too many models, but I think a good plan here is to see what I can do within a certain amount of time. So I'm going to set myself a time limit of 3 hours to build as many models as I can from this set. This is probably the direction I want to go with this series, where I'm going to sit down for an amount of time, show you the process of what I'm doing and talk about what I've done, any issues I've run into and that kind of stuff. There's definitely been times when building and painting where I've had to Google and try and look up certain things because they didn't make sense. So maybe some stuff in here could actually help out other people who are building this stuff. So I guess without further ado, I'll see you in 3 hours. So I've set a time lapse going here for the entire process of what I did. I apologize for the angle. As mentioned before, this is not exactly the most professional of processes, but this at least gives you somewhat of an idea of what was going on here. So I decided to start with the starter set rather than the battle box. The reason for this is the battle box, while it does contain the 5 Blood Knights, it also contains a lot of zombies. I think it's 40 zombies and 20 skeletons, which is a lot to get through. The starter set has the 5 Black Knights as well as the White King on Skeletal Steed, and that seemed like a better place to start. In any spare time, I could go towards some of the Grave Guards. There's 20 of those in there, but spoiler alert, I do only manage to get the Knights and the mounted infantry done. The White King on Skeletal Steed did trip me up a little bit. The body, once you put the horse together and get ready to put the body on, is a bit weird. You think it should fit on, but actually you kind of have to stick it into the hole and turn it almost like a key to get into the right place. Once that's done and got down, the rest of it's not too bad. I did have a little trouble when it was on the base as well. It did start to fall a little bit, so I had to hold it there in place. But overall, this wasn't too bad to put together, and I do really like this model. One of the reasons I actually bought this starter set as well, I could justify myself by saying, oh, I'm going to play Age of Sigmar, but realistically, I just think the models are really cool. The Knights themselves, which are the Black Knights here, easier to put together than the White King on Skeletal Steed, up until you get to the shields. These shields with the arms are an absolute pain in the ass. To be honest, it just took so long to work out exactly how they got put together. You can see from some of this time lapse that I'm just futzing about, just like, dry fitting them together, trying to work out where they go, what to do, and eventually I just start chucking glue on, putting them on, and just seeing where they land. And one of those things I find with Warhammer models is eventually they will just kind of settle into place. Like, there is a way that they're meant to go, and they do eventually settle there. There were some pieces, like some of the lances here, that just kept kind of falling, and had to keep holding them a bit, but overall this was a fun little project. And yeah, 6 models in 3 hours, is that a good pace? I'm not sure. I'm sure that people who are more professional or more practiced at this could probably put this together a lot quicker. But I figured, given time, I can get a bit quicker. I think if I was doing some of the zombies, those are literally like 3 pieces each, so I could probably put quite a few of those together. But again, like I mentioned with the Reavers, once you get to a certain number of models doing the same thing, I get very bored. Again, this is why the wheel was so interesting to me. Really being able to just like dance around and do lots of little things here and there and eventually build up an army rather than having to sit down and go, right, I need to do 20 of these and 15 of these and just getting bored and then really not wanting to do much more. Eventually, I think I will paint these. If I get Soulblight Gravelords again, what I'll probably do is keep doing this again, building more things, and then eventually once they're all built, if we keep spinning on the landing on it, I don't know why we would, but if we did, then at least I'll have some Age of Sigmar. I think as well, maybe what I'll do is if it keeps coming up, maybe I'll look into actually learning Age of Sigmar. I know that I've got some friends who play 40k who are interested in Age of Sigmar, and having looked at the rules, they do look quite fun. So if you do play Age of Sigmar yourself, if you want to leave some comments about how good way to learn, and I'll give it a go. So that was a fun little diversion. I didn't weasel my way out of it like I could have done, but yeah, got a nice few extra little models here, which I quite like. Let's go back to the wheel and see what we get. All right, back at the wheel again after building some of those Soulblight Gravelords. Let's see what we get now. Okay, Incubi. I can deal with Incubi. I've got 15 of these, and my army lists usually contain 15, so nice to be able to get some of these out of the way. I have 5 of them spray painted, so I'll go away and paint those, and next time I'll go through that process. But thanks very much for watching once again, and if you did enjoy this video or want to continue following me on my journey, please go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like and a comment down below about what you're working on, and I will see you next time. Thanks very much for watching.